Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Bobby, and today we have an interesting collection of Am I the Asshole stories from Reddit. I don't want to take too long rambling here, so we're going to hop right into it. But I just want to remind you to make sure that you're subscribed to my channel and please go ahead and drop a like on this video. With that being said, let's jump into the first story. This next one is from the subreddit Am I Wrong? And it says, Girlfriend insulted my looks, and I told her to get out of my apartment. I, 25 male, got into an argument with my girlfriend, 22 female, earlier today. We'd been dating since September and were 24 and 21 back then. She was over at my place. The argument was very stupid, just about not being able to give each other a lot of time. I work full time, and she's still in school. She's upset that I apparently don't give her enough time, while I brought up that she's always at or near campus and spends most nights at her and her roommate's house. Makes sense. With that being said, I make more of an effort to spend time with her than she does with me. I text her more to hang out and call her over to my place more than she calls me to hers. This led to a back and forth, and eventually I just told her that I felt like I was doing most of the work in the relationship, to which she tells me, quote, Well, you're not even that good looking, so you better. Ouch, that hurt. I'm clearly the less attractive one in the relationship. One of my biggest insecurities. My friend always made jokes about how I went above my league with her, so also saying there's no way it's genuine and that she must be a gold digger for my $65,000 a year job. But turns out those weren't just jokes. I got bullied hard as a kid for my appearance, and although I look much better now than I did at 17, I'm still not someone you'd turn your neck around to get a second look at on the streets. I'll likely never be. When she saw me pause and stare blankly at her, she started tearing up and apologizing, telling me she didn't mean any of it. It really did upset me, and I needed time to process it. I just wanted time to myself to reflect on everything about my life and what I wanted, and if I could still improve. I asked her to go back home, to which she responded with, I'm really sorry, let's just start over. Listen, I'm really sorry, but there was absolutely some truth to that statement. After about 5 minutes of telling her to leave me be, she left. It's been about 3 hours, and I'm not as angry anymore, but definitely upset. Did I go too far? Part of me is proud of myself for standing up, but another part wonders if she really did just say something in the heat of the moment. In the comment sections, we have comment section. There's only one comment section, Bobby. Your ex, I don't think they broke up. Anyway, your ex may or may not have meant the words, but it's obvious she was trying to hurt you. She knows your insecurities and she used it against you. She said something in the heat of the moment with the intention of deliberately hurting you. Response to that comment says the verbal equivalent of hitting below the belt. She knows you're sensitive about your looks, so that's where she went. It's verbal abuse at the minimum. And somebody else, user GoGo Bitch, great name. Abuse is a pattern of behavior. One incident like this doesn't necessarily constitute abuse, although it could if it's repeated, but would make me rethink a relationship. My bet is OP's girlfriend is too emotionally immature to know how to handle a fight and lashes out when she's upset, which is a good reason for OP to break up with her. I did just want to comment on this because Gogo Bitch is right. My bet is OP's girlfriend was too emotionally immature to know how to handle a fight. Yeah, because this girl is 22. 22. That's very young and that is very immature. So I don't think the guy is wrong for asking her to leave. I think that if you get into an argument with your significant other and it's getting heated and people are starting to say things that are very hurtful and that don't pertain to the argument at hand, it's better to walk away for a few, cool down, and then come back together with level heads. Now, I say that now as a grown ass adult, but these people are in their 20s, and so that's not their first reaction. Their first reaction is to hurt each other. Yeah, I definitely want to know what you guys think about this. Is this guy wrong for kicking her out of his apartment, or was he totally right? Okay, another one from Am I the Asshole, posted by user Bed Mysterious 7061. My girlfriend's friend, 25F, is a sex worker and thinks I sabotaged her relationship. My girlfriend, 26F, and I, 26, I was saying F and M, that's funny. 26 female, and I, 26 male, have been dating for a little over 4 years. She has a best friend who has a long-term boyfriend. The boyfriend and I have become pretty close over the years, and I consider him to be a good friend as well. Now they've a bit of an unconventional relationship because a couple years, I guess they missed a word, because a couple years ago, she started an OF page. He's always been supportive and he's not involved in her content whatsoever, mainly because of his job in finance. I don't follow her, quote, spicy pages, so I genuinely don't know a ton about the type of content she posts. I assumed it was solo content because they've always been monogamous. However, when my girlfriend's friend came over to hang recently, she started talking about a threesome she had with another girl and another guy, not her boyfriend. Apparently, within the last 6 months, she started filming content with other guys and then had the threesome. So, this came as a shock to me, and I brought it up to my girlfriend after her friend left. She said it was a surprise to her too, but apparently it's not affecting the relationship, and she's gained a lot of new subscribers as well. The next time I saw her boyfriend, about a week ago now, I probed him about what I'd heard and wanted to see how he was feeling about it. He said he was fine, but he has been feeling insecure about the threesome. They'd gotten into a fight about her doing one because that's a fantasy of his and she's not interested in doing one outside of her work. And since he won't be on camera with her, it's never going to happen. This might be where I messed up, but I told him it was totally reasonable to be upset. Even though she's filming content as part of her job, it would have made me jealous as hell too. Surprisingly, he's not as jealous about the other guys she's been with. It's mainly just the threesome because he feels it's unfair that she enacted one of his fantasies without him. Again, I couldn't argue with him on that because that seems like a valid reason to be upset. As you might have already guessed, they got into a huge fight the day after we hung out, and now on the verge of breaking up. He's been staying at his parents' since. My girlfriend and her friend think I convinced him to leave, which definitely is not true. Now, my girlfriend and I aren't going to break up over this. I think she secretly agrees with me, but that's a whole other story. And that's not really why I'm posting. I think there's a very real chance that her friend's relationship ends, and her friend seems to think I'm responsible if it does. Should I apologize here? Should I have just kept my mouth shut? Some underscore badger underscore 2950 says, not the asshole. You were talking to a friend. He needed someone to listen. You did. And someone responds to this and says, exactly. If all it took was one hangout session for the relationship to be on the verge of a breakup, then the relationship was already going downhill anyways. Not the asshole. The friend is, somebody else says, the friend is delusional if she thought he would be okay with what she was doing forever. He was uncomfortable with her doing OF, which is why he was never on camera with her. I don't know if that's true. He was uncomfortable with being on camera with her, not with her doing OF. But let's continue. Then she started screwing other guys. Okay, this is an incel. Within 6 months, started doing threesomes, something he wanted to try with her, and she said no unless it's on camera. She shot herself in the foot with her own action. Somebody else responded, just pointing out that I think the BF wasn't on camera with her, not because he was uncomfortable with her doing OF, but because he was worried someone from his job would see him in one of her videos, and it would reflect poorly on him and his career. And that's what I just said. So I don't really have an opinion on this one, you guys. Let me know if you do, because a lot of people here thinks the guy's not an asshole. Some of them are sounding kind of incelly, but you know how people can be sometimes when they get judgy about OF and stuff like that. So I'm very interested to hear what your opinion is about this relationship and this guy potentially being the asshole. Am I the asshole for leaving the same day that I moved in with my boyfriend? Did I overreact here? So, like, I have been dating Matt, fake name, 26, for a little over a year. We knew each other 2 years prior to dating, and we got along really well. I have a son, 2.5, and a daughter, 4, who he'd already met from multiple times when I was with the friend group. Here's the thing though, we just got a place together, but the place needed work before we could move in. So we agreed with the landlord that he would help fix it up with him, the landlord, to get half off the first month's rent. He agreed. So for a month, we were there every day cleaning this place up, and like I started noticing some red flags, like a quick temper. But I literally just assumed it was because the AC wasn't working and it was like a sauna in the house. So he was pouring sweat and getting pissed off. But again, I thought it was because he was hot, but because as soon as he cooled off, he was fine again. But like, we finished the house. The AC was working again, so it was no longer hot. We moved in yesterday morning. He was barking orders basically all day to me, like telling me where to put things, or if I put something somewhere he didn't like, he was all, "Why would you put that there?" And literally looked at me like I was stupid. Like the "Are you serious" look. But I let it slide because I didn't really know what else to do, I guess. Or like every 15 minutes, he was asking me to go with him to Walmart because he wanted to blow a bunch of money on stuff to make the place, quote, feel like home. In parentheses, we hadn't even unpacked half our stuff earlier. He got irritated when I said I didn't think we should spend more money right now. But anyway, I go and pick up my kids and stuff for dinner. I grabbed a family pack of kielbasa, the one that has 3.5 strips, and rice. Well, I only cut up two of the kielbasa because that's literally plenty. He comes over and says, "Why aren't you making all of it?" So I told him I didn't need to make all of it and that this would feed all of us and still be enough for leftovers. And made a comment about how I was going to use the rest of the kielbasa that I wasn't cooking to feed my kids and myself the next day because I like kielbasa sandwiches. He blew up. Thankfully, the kids weren't inside to hear it. My mom came over and brought them to the park across the street. He told me there was no way that it would feed all of us and that I was selfish for only thinking about what I would eat tomorrow instead of worrying about feeding us all tonight. Walked out and slammed the door after I said, "Are you really blowing up on me about food right now?" I watched him drive off. Well, I immediately started taking me and the kids' stuff out to the car and had my mom leave with my kids. I get everything loaded up before he gets back. Most of my stuff is still in storage. Well, I get a text from him about 25 minutes after I left saying, "Did you really leave? Please come back and talk to me. I'm sorry. I'm having such a bad day and I'm just exhausted from working and doing the repairs here. You shouldn't have left over this," etc., etc. Am I the asshole? There's an edit. I truly don't have the energy to argue with salty ass, toxic masculinity men. I work full time. I'm not leeching Matt's money. I bought the food with my money. It was half of my money that went into getting us into the house. I literally work full time at a bank. He had work the next day. I did not. Therefore, he wouldn't have been home to eat the leftover kielbasa with me and my kids, and therefore, no, I didn't include him in it. So it sounds like some people in the comments were being a dick to her. So let's just go to the comments. Not the asshole. It was the audacity to say you shouldn't leave over this when he literally left over it. That dude's a red flag and you did the right thing. Another comment, rules for thee, not for me. He's an asshole. I just hope, somebody else said, "I just hope she didn't sign herself into a lease or that the landlord is one of the understanding ones." And somebody responded, said, "Since she mentioned paying half the deposit and such, I imagine she's on the lease. Hopefully there wasn't much paid to utility companies and deposits and such yet. Those are harder to get sorted out if one person is being the asshole. If utility is both their names OP, you need to get your name off them ASAP." Yeah, a lot of everybody's just saying this. He's a red flag. He's a walking red flag. He's an asshole. You're not the asshole. Get your kids out of there. Yada yada yada. And I agree. This guy seems like a red flag. If you want to try to continue the relationship with him, I would suggest perhaps going to couples counseling because moving, first of all, moving is incredibly stressful. Moving when you have kids, terribly stressful. Moving while you have kids and in with a new partner, crazy stressful. So it's a stressful time for both of them. And we don't know if she was also being snippy with him. But yeah, it really does seem to me that they either need to not live together right now until they've gotten some counseling, or she just needs to walk away and don't look back. You need to think of your kids and your own happiness as well. And being with a walking red flag is not going to be the solution. Okay, here's a little bit of a light-hearted one for us. Am I the asshole for taking one of my husband's cheeseburgers? My husband and I have 3 sons. Last Saturday, he took them out to run errands while I stayed home to do housework. They went to McDonald's on the way home and brought food back for me. I told them to get me a 10-piece chicken nugget and a medium fry. Apparently, the boys were still hungry in the car after eating their meals and asked my husband if they could have some of my food. He told them they could have a couple of nuggets and a few fries. His reasoning was that I rarely finish my whole order, which is true. I usually eat 7 to 8 nuggets and most of the fries. Well, they each took 2 nuggets and a few fries, which means that what was handed to me for lunch was 4 nuggets and about a quarter of the container of fries. My husband has this habit of buying himself 3 extra cheeseburgers, the little thin ones, when he goes to McDonald's so that he can eat them for breakfast the next day. He puts them in the waffle iron to reheat them. He swears it's his favorite breakfast. He's a weirdo. Anyway, knowing he had already eaten his full McDonald's lunch and he still had those cheeseburgers, I asked him for one so I could have a full lunch. He said no because he needs them for breakfast. Here's where I might be the asshole. I took one and ate it anyway. I was hungry and annoyed that my food was eaten, so it didn't make sense to me that he would deny me a full lunch so that he could have breakfast. He still has 2 cheeseburgers for breakfast. He can have an egg with them or something if it's not enough food. He got mad that I ate his cheeseburger and doesn't think it's the same as him letting the kids eat my food because he didn't realize they took that much, so he didn't intend to upset me. Whereas I knew I was upsetting him when I took the cheeseburger. He thinks I could have just eaten leftovers or something, but like he could do that too and should since he gave my food away. Am I the asshole here? He thinks I am because I took his food after he said no, but I was not given the opportunity to say no before he let the kids take my food, so it's not a fair comparison. I wasn't lying, y'all, when I said this was kind of a funny, lighthearted one. In the comments section below, user Solar Perfume says, if the kids are wolfing down their meals and still need more food while still in the car, he should have bought them backup food just like he buys himself backup food. Alternatively, he could have said, kids, you just ate. Let's wait until we get home. It can take time for your brain to recognize you're full. He could also have stopped at another fast food joint on the way home. They're only on every corner. Too hard, apparently. Eye roll emoji. The option he should not have gone with was, sure, kids, eat most of mom's food. She doesn't need it, and I've got backup waffle iron cheeseburgers. Not the asshole. A response to this comment by DNCR Mom, an asshole enthusiast. Or with 3 kids and 3 extra cheeseburgers, he could have given them each one, and his wife could have eaten her entire meal. He doesn't get 2 full meals while his wife goes hungry, sacrifices, and only gets 1/3 of a meal. Somebody else says, dude buys 3 extra cheeseburgers. He has 4 full meals and didn't want to part with just one of them. And Hail or Shine said, well, he didn't intend to leave her with next to no food. And as we all know, intent is magic and totally replaces a meal you gave away to people who've already eaten. And obviously, that's sarcasm. So, yeah, that was kind of a funny one to give us a little levity in this episode. Tell me what you think about the cheeseburger asshole. Am I the asshole for telling my daughter she sabotaged herself? My ex-wife and I, 51 male, have 3 children together. We have 2 sons who are 15 and 13 and a daughter who is now 18. Their mother and I agreed on a 50-50 custody arrangement after we split up and have stuck to it until this issue arose. My daughter hasn't spoken to me since last summer due to an argument she and I had about college. I have college funds for all three of my kids and had an agreement with them that they would receive it after graduating high school as long as they attended a state university, not a community college. I wanted to set them up for success later on, and I knew future employers would take them more seriously if their degree was from a legitimate 4 year college. Last spring, my daughter and I got into an argument about this. She was filling out financial forms for college and asked me for my tax returns. While we were going over the forms, I noticed that she put down a local community college. And when I pointed it out, she told me that her mother encouraged her to because they waived the tuition fees for first-time college students, so we wouldn't have to pay for any of it. I told her that she shouldn't be asking me for my information if she was going to use it to do something I've made clear I don't support. She told me that she thought I just meant I was against paying for it, and I told her that I had been crystal clear and that she knew what I'd meant, and that she was being sneaky and taking the easy way out. Eventually, I stormed out. I figured that it would blow over by the next day, as it usually does when we have a fight. However, she told me a few days later that she reached out to the financial aid company and asked to submit the forms with only her mother's financial information. They ended up approving her request, but it was a long process and didn't get completed until after the deadline to enroll in most universities for the fall semester. As a result, she wasn't able to start college last semester and ended up getting a job instead. My daughter told me that since I, quote, clearly wasn't going to help her, that she would move in with her mother full time after she turned 18, which was during the summer, and she started college this semester. I told her that was ridiculous and that she was just being petty and that she sabotaged herself. And if she had just enrolled in a real college like I told her to, she would have been able to complete the paperwork without a problem. She told me that she hated me and was cold and distant to me until she moved out permanently. That was all during spring and summer of last year, and my daughter hasn't spoken to me since. I pretty much forgot about it until my youngest son told me this morning that he misses her being there when they spend the week at my house, and how he wishes I hadn't been so harsh. In retrospect, I might have been too harsh with it. Am I the asshole? Let's unpack this. Jesus, where do I start? So, this guy sounds like a boomer with an old style of thinking that you need to have a 4 year degree to get a good job. And that's simply not the case anymore. For certain professions, absolutely. I don't want a doctor who doesn't go to college. Obviously, you have to go to college for certain things. However, for him to be such a goddamn elitist and tell his child that a community college is not a real college is BS, in my opinion. Now, on a personal note, I did my first 2 years at a community college and then transferred my happy butt over to a university. Same classes, same credits, much less money. Honestly, this guy, yeah, he's an asshole. So, moving on, he was a total asshole to her. He stormed out on his daughter. I'm sorry, you're a parent and you stormed out. She had to start college late and she's pissed off at him. And I don't blame her. Also, she's 18, so him being upset that she moved out, she's 18, she can do what she wants, you know? And last thing that I'm going to say on this is that the last paragraph, he says, my daughter hasn't spoken to me since. I pretty much forgot about it until my youngest son told me that he misses her. You forgot that you hadn't spoken to your daughter? I'm sorry. Let's, I'm sorry. I'm done with this guy. Let's just go to the comments and see what there is going on down here. Falling into polka dots. A pooper intended says, you're the asshole. Why are you such a judgy pants about community college? Did you even have a discussion with her about why she was choosing to do this? If she had a plan? Many students start at a community college to knock some requirements out and then transfer to a 4 year state college. You sabotaged her and your relationship with her. Falling into polka dots is right. That is exactly what I said. And The responses, judging and controlling, you're the asshole, how disgusting, pretty much forgot about, yeah, he was already no contact. A lot of people are agreeing with me on this, that this dad is a total asshole. And I would like to know what you guys think about this situation. Have you ever had this happen to you? Have your parents refused to support your endeavors, whether it's college, a job, or just something that you wanted to do? Let me know. Okay, let's end today's episode with a wedding. Am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for telling my sister-in-law slash best friend that she overshadowed my wedding? Burner account. I, 29 female, am married to Nate, 29 male, and his sister is Denise, 29 female. We are all childhood friends, and I married Nate almost a year ago. Denise, at the time, was 7 months pregnant with her first child. Her husband is Wayne, 30 male. Not too long after our reception started, Denise went into preterm labor. Her pregnancy up until that point was not high risk, so this was completely out of nowhere and stunned all of us. She understandably had to leave with Wayne to the hospital, and most of their side of the family left out of concern. She insisted we stay and have fun, and Lord knows Nate and I tried, but knowing that she was in unexpected high risk labor was at the forefront of our minds, and we made the difficult decision to end the reception about an hour and a half early and joined up at the hospital. My nephew, Ben, was born that night, and we were all excited. But I'll admit, Nate and I felt a bit miffed that our wedding day was kind of stolen by this event. We kept this to ourselves, though, as this was obviously unplanned, and it's cruel to put that on Denise and Wayne. But from that point on, nobody ever talked about our marriage, just baby Ben. The times I think a relative mentioned our wedding can be counted on one hand. I get it. New additions to the family are ultimately more important, but my wedding day will never just be about my wedding. It'll be about Ben, and whenever he comes up or I see him, I feel bitter because I'm reminded of what happened at the wedding. Yes, I know I'm jealous of a baby. I feel like shit for it. Nate was like this too for a while, but grew out of it. I'm still working on it. Ben is turning 1 in 2 weeks, and that's all everyone's talking about. Not a peep about our anniversary. I already know I'll just be depressed and mopey the whole time, so I asked if Nate could politely tell him I would not be there. He did, and Denise was pretty upset and demanded to know why. He refused, so she confronted me via text. She told me that she's picked up on how I seem sad whenever Ben is mentioned and said that I'm hurting her that I can't tell her why. I decided to be honest and tell her that I've been very depressed, not just for this issue, but it's contributing, and that I felt that my wedding was overshadowed by her unexpected labor. I did tell her I'm not mad at anyone because it was unplanned. I just need to not be reminded of it on my anniversary. She did not respond and just blocked me. But Wayne uninvited Nate and told him to keep him and I far away from his family. Nate's confused and I feel like shit. Am I the asshole? So Reddit has collectively said that this person is the asshole. And I see why. I mean, I think we can all see why, but let's go right to the comment section. User Cantor Circles says, well, yeah, that's just how things go. Your anniversary is an important date to you, but with all due respect, it doesn't really mean much to anyone else. You and your husband are the ones who are supposed to be giving each other attention on your anniversary. You know that Denise didn't do anything to intentionally steal attention away from you. Neither did that baby. Grow up a bit. You're an asshole. Alarmed underscore jellyfish 555 says, maybe it's different with other families, but I've never known anyone other than the married couple themselves to really celebrate their anniversaries. Occasionally their kids at most. I think OP needs therapy. This is not normal or healthy. And Ladder Philosopher 355 says, you're the asshole, dude. Really? No one's talking about your anniversary? Why would they? Over a child's birthday? I was born Christmas Eve, so yeah, life ain't all about you. Everybody's saying that this bride is an asshole, and I have to agree. She's being pretty entitled by the whole thing. And congratulations to the sister who had a beautiful baby boy, by the way. Let me know your thoughts on this and all the other stories we read today. And I hope you guys enjoyed these Reddit stories today. Please let me know down below what you thought. Who's an asshole? Who doesn't suck? And if there's anything you guys want me to read at some point, go ahead and just either leave me a comment or shoot me an email. My email will be in the description box down below. Until next time, I will see you then. Bye.